Okay, we're talking about Steve Arterburn's book, Toxic Faith, where he describes what healthy faith is and what toxic faith is. So I'll just lay out give you a summary, and then I'm going to read some of his quotes. The summary is: healthy faith believes in reality, and that reality cannot be changed by the miraculous. God gave us a mind and willpower, and we're to use our mind and willpower to accomplish everything. And that if we don't, when we fail, God is there to help us with our trials and tribulations. He's there to, that's it, sort of comfort us when we fail in our own efforts. And that denial, of course, is a huge part in any of these supposedly Christian psychologist ideology. Denial of reality is the ultimate evil, and you can't deny reality. Reality meaning that this is just the world the way it is, and God ain't gonna change it. You're gonna deal with it. It's reality. Don't deny reality. Don't try to bring in the miraculous, because you're going to be disappointed. So here's his statements. Those of toxic faith use it to avoid reality and responsibility. Religious addiction is an excuse to avoid reality. It is an excuse to wait for God to do what He wants you to do. God wants you to do everything according to Him. There's no miraculous. There's nothing miraculous. Their faith dumps responsibility for everything that happens on God. Well, yes, I guess it does. Waiting on God for help does not mean that you are to neglect the mind He gave us and the will we have to accomplish things. So we are stuck with our mind and will, and everybody's got their own opinion, as you know, but this is what happens. Perhaps God most often simply uses the consequences of our poor decisions to discipline us. So God disciplines us when we use our mind and our will, but we make the wrong decisions and we fail. So that's how God disciplines us. It's not really God disciplining us. It's just this reap what you sow sort of ideology, a mechanist world, that if you don't do the right things, and there's failure, then you just fail. But that's God disciplining us. God is passive in this man's ideology. We are to do everything we can do and then leave what we cannot do to God. Well, that's not the gospel. The gospel says we can't do nothing without Him. We can do nothing. Peter asked Jesus, who can be saved? He goes, nobody. You can't save yourself. He said, only through God do you have any hope. Only God. Who took them out of Egypt? Who saved them? Who dried up the Red Sea? Who dried up the River Jordan? Oh, these aren't reality to this guy. That's not a reality, and God being miraculous in this world today is not reality. The toxic believer denies reality. His faith is not based on the supernatural power of God, but rather on a desire to see magical solutions. A healthy believer embraces reality, not magic. Healthy faith acknowledges supernatural power of God, but does not need miraculous intervention. So, if you're toxic, you deny reality, and you believe in magic, which is his term for the supernatural. Then his next statement is, a healthy person acknowledges the supernatural, but does not expect the supernatural to appear in his life. What does that mean? I acknowledge it, but I don't, it's not here, it's not real, it ain't going to happen. How is that acknowledging the supernatural, believing that it won't happen? The healthy believer does not look to God to change circumstances. He looks to him in the midst of trials. God's just there to pick up the pieces when you make mistakes through your mind and will. He's there for comfort. He's not there to change things. When God grows strong, there is no need to deny reality. So when faith grows strong, there's no need to deny reality. Well, you have no faith at all. That sounds like that means the same thing. If you have no faith at all, you don't deny reality. People who have no faith at all, they go, yeah, this is just it. This is reality. God's not going to change anything. That's no faith. Believing that God is faithful to help them through their trials and tribulations, healthy believers do not need to walk away from reality. They see problems before them and trust God to do the rest. Doing the rest is after you've done everything. After you've done everything with your mind, your will, and you fail, which you will do because you can't. That's the system of works. That's the human effort. That's every religion in the world is a system of works. And he's preaching, do the best you can do. Here's a statement from the Book of Mormon. The plan of salvation from the Book of Mormon. The atonement of Christ. As you rely on the atonement, you will feel the love of God, and he will help you endure your trials. That's their gospel. God will help you to endure your trials, not intercede in your life. Through his grace and mercy, again, the Book of Mormon, through his grace and mercy, he will help you in your trials. And this is what Mr. Arterburn has said 5 times that I've read here, that's what God does. He helps you in your trials, and but he will not intercede in reality, into your reality, into this real world, and do something miraculous, or as he says, magical, which is a way of demeaning. It's a demeaning term to demean those who believe that God is alive and walking in this world and able to change the circumstances. He makes another statement where he says, they call them miracles because they rarely happen. That's his definition of a miracle. Something that rarely happens, and which has never happened to him. As he has stated somewhere else in another of his books, where he said, I prayed for a miracle, and a miracle didn't come. And that's the end of the statement that he made. A miracle didn't come. Because he didn't believe him. That was he had some kind of crisis, sought God, and God didn't give him his lollipop. And so, then God don't do that. God doesn't do that. I've heard Mr. Arterburn say on his radio show, if you have a spouse that has psychological problems, which according to him is everybody has psychological problems. That's the heart of your problem, heart of man's problem. Do not pray for them, because God will not answer that prayer. This is a direct statement I've heard him say more than once. Don't pray for them. Why wouldn't you pray for them? Because God doesn't intercede. God doesn't do magic anymore. Or if he ever did. So Mr. Arterburn, I will take my toxic faith, and you can take your faith of the Mormons and see where it gets you. Please don't follow this guy. Listen to this guy. If you've got his books, burn him. Run away from him. He's not a man of God. All right. We'll talk about this again later, some other subjects in his book. Thank you.